Everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. Wave 3 News meteorologist Brian Good. Before I get into the details of weather, a reminder that we're going to be doing a live shot tonight with the Kroger folks over at McMahon Plaza, as well as our friends over at Midland Radio. Kevin Harno will be out there helping you program weather radios. So if you get a chance, come out to the McMahon Kroger later on for this evening, starting at 5 o'clock if you want to head out there. Also, then tomorrow night at IUS, all of us are going to be at IUS for our town hall. It's going to be not a political town hall. It's going to be a town hall for all of us to get together and discuss some weather. We've got the Weather Service there, Red Cross, great partners that we have for the News and Tribune. So if you get a chance, come out there tomorrow night at IUS. Free parking, even some refreshments. And that kicks off about 5 o'clock, but we'll get everything going around 7. So you have time, if you get off work, to head over there at IUS. All right, so you'll be hearing more about this, by the way, in the next 24 hours. All right, in the short term, we've got one system of interest to talk about, and it is interesting. There are some caveats to it, and that'll be later on for tomorrow, hopefully after the event that we have planned for tomorrow. Let's start off with today, though. We've got some showers and thunderstorms feeding in. You can certainly tell where the low pressure is, pretty much right over us, but we're getting the benefit of some sunshine. That's helping produce, though, some of these cumulus clouds and some isolated downpours, even along I-65. Some of this activity to the south and east of us, though, on the stronger side, there's a better potential for maybe some pea-sized hail that may accumulate in some areas briefly, but there could be some nickel-sized hail. Well, we'll be watching that carefully as it tracks off the north and east. So far, our hail indicator is not off the chart, so not to the point of severe limits, but we'll watch it. But right now, it is 70 degrees. So we've got one low now we're tracking that's leaving us, which is good. Our next system, though, is way up here across the Dakotas, and it's going to track mainly across the north as we hit the next 24 hours. And what is unique about that system is that it's going to become what we call a negative tilt when it comes to the trough. Negative because it's literally going to be like the backslash that you would have on the keyboard. It tilts backward, and when they tilt backward, you cause the winds to back as well, and you can get some strong to severe thunderstorms, and in some cases, tornadoes can develop in that kind of a setup here. But notice that a lot of precipitation, this is the GFS, but notice a lot of precipitation with that low is confined to the low itself, not much on the southern flank. And that is because the atmosphere looks to be capped over us here in wave country. That's good as far as protecting us from the worst of the thunderstorm potential. And two, good that it's going to allow, anytime you get a cap environment, you can get really warm. 80 degrees is certainly reachable, and we may exceed 80 in some cases, depending on the strength of that cap for Tuesday. Let me show you our in-house model first, then we'll get into the NAM that is interesting as well on its data. Later on tonight, we get rid of the system. Watch out, there could be some fog if we clear out later on here. It could be some fog developing right along the I-65 corridor for the morning commute because the atmosphere will have an inversion. That's where the cap will begin to take place. Tomorrow morning, that will start with fog. We'll eventually see the cap hold. Models are saying 78. Again, we could easily exceed that depending on the strength of the cap to keep the cloud cover at bay. But notice, even at 6:30 in the afternoon, nothing going on when it comes to thunderstorms. But then the cap weakens enough to allow some thunderstorms on the tail end to produce some isolated, small, supercell-like structures. And in college, is one of my favorite terms at Western, calling these tail-end Charlies. And that's what they would likely be, tail-end Charlies that will move through southern Indiana. Got to watch those, though, because they can rotate, but they will likely zoom on by some point, I would say, between 10 tomorrow night and 2 a.m. So this is going to be a late evening chance here for thunderstorms to roll on by across wave country, especially for Indiana. And then we'll see those out of here as we cool off slightly for Wednesday. Now, the Storm Prediction Center, to account for this, has already issued a slight risk to our north. It does include Bedford over to North Vernon in the yellow zone for the main portion of that tail-end Charlie zone. But again, some of those tail-end Charlies may work their way as far south as northern Kentucky, and that's where there's a marginal risk that extends down in our area just in case that does happen. Let me show you the soundings here. This is from the NAM high res. Again, this is the ground level, looking all the way up. And I've highlighted in the gray here are the inversion levels in the afternoon hours tomorrow. And you can definitely tell, and you can also see when you see the dew point and the temperature line come together, it tells you there's an inversion or a cap that takes place. It's hard to read this, but the cap is about 175. It's a pretty good cap that's over us. Yeah, there's Cape. There's the Cape in the yellow line. So there's instability to work with, but it's capped. So thunderstorms can't tap into the Cape or the potential energy that is up there aloft. Also notice how dry it is aloft as well. So this is only better support for a mainly sunny day and quite warm. Now, tomorrow night around 10 or 11 o'clock, we lose the cap. Notice all the red bars. It's hard to read this, I know, but all the red lights up here on the indice list, or the severe weather indicators is what I'm trying to say, across the left side of your screen. The cap is gone, and now we get into a situation here. There's a weak cap, I should say, but it's eroded enough that thunderstorms can certainly tap into that and produce some heavy rain and gusty winds. Now, here's what's interesting. On the NAM 4K, here is the potential CAPE for tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Prior highest CAPE levels we've had this season so far, and that's not off the chain, but about 1,000 to 1,500. When you look at potential for rotating storms or isolated tornadoes, that feature is enhanced in central Indiana, and it does extend into northern Kentucky. So the cap is crucial here to protect us from having to deal with all this potential energy that is moving through here. Now, when you look at the future radar that is available from the NAM High-Res, you can see already the supercell structures. This is at 10 o'clock at night tomorrow night. The supercell structures, and see the tail end Charlies, they start to end right around the Ohio River, and then they hint, maybe a few may develop in Kentucky, but you can certainly see the stronger potential right across Indiana. So it does bear watching. Yes, we will move into nighttime, but the way this is set up, there's going to be so much heating in the day, and there will be enough moisture around that even though we lose the sun this time of day into the evening, there could still be enough energy for these thunderstorms to produce severe weather. So it is certainly possible. Again, I think this is going to be a 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. time frame. If we were to have to deal with it, that would be the time frame. Let's hope, though, that the cap remains strong enough to protect a lot of us here in Wave Country, and this ends up staying mainly to our north. But gotta stress, it is going to be a close call. After that, we have another front, by the way. This is not it, but little wave that'll wiggle around here on Thursday. Could bring us a few showers around as we head into sometime Thursday in southern Kentucky. And then we get into the weekend. And this is what you're looking at here in the GFS. Low pressure begins to dig here. Now, if this was January, this would say, okay, well, you got snow on the way, a lot of snow potentially with this kind of a setup. Even when you look at the Canadian, that would say accumulating snow. Decent snow event, in fact, as this low pressure really digs in here in the east. Snow on the backside. But this is now mid-March, and when you look at mid-March standards, yes, even the sounding here from the GFS says snow is possible. It's marginal here in the snow growth zone to produce snowflakes, but the temperature is right of the zero line here, which says that even if we did get snowflakes, they would melt on contact. The moral of the story here for this weekend is it does look colder compared to what we'll have tomorrow, but colder for the weekend. There will be a little bit of light rain, and certainly we could see some snowflakes. Not going to rule that out. Accumulating snow, I don't see that possible at this point. We will watch it carefully, but a gentle reminder that winter is still around for Saturday, but Sunday we officially begin the first day of spring, and we may have snowflakes. Very fitting, if you ask me. All right, guys, stay tuned. We got a lot to track the next several days, and we'll keep you updated.